Looks like it's that time again. The new #1 demon has arrived. It's official. Slaughterhouse is here to stay. A level that firmly cemented itself as the new limit to this community's achievement. A level assembled with passion that passed the overwhelming standards of the rating system. And on top of that, was made so impossibly challenging that it could only be completed by the best players on Earth. That's cool and all, but you see, there's one slight issue with that. Not a single bit of that is true. All the things I described, complete bullshit. And I'm sick and tired of the dickheads who keep pulling this stunt over and over for years on end. As of now, Slaughterhouse has 1.2 million downloads on the Geometry Dash application itself, and millions of views talking about it on YouTube. People just shitting themselves silly on how hard the thing is. And yeah, it's hard. I'm certainly not here to be one of those obnoxious cunts that argue on about how hard levels are on the internet. Instead, I'm here for something else. It's sure hard alright, but is it good? Should I even answer that? Seems to me that nobody cares. All I see is a bunch of annoying fucks either busking for likes, coming over how hard it is, or busking for likes while coming over how hard it is. Seems like the community is in consensus that it doesn't even matter if a level's fun, or even looks remotely presentable. If it's on the demons list, it's good enough. And for a community that dealt with chronic depression over 5 years ago, it's kinda sad to see this mentality still existing. If we look under the hood real quick, it's not surprising to see why people aren't talking about the level, cause, well, it's a little abrasive to say the least. Chances are, if you're watching me, you have ears, so let's get the obvious out of the way. Apparently, this is the most popular song by some edgy fuck from 2012, which N-Level came across only to remix it. And by that, of course, he just made it shorter. I don't really have anything to say about it. Maybe if I was an edgy fuck, I would go blast it at full volume at an underpass while on ketamine, or whatever you're supposed to do while listening to this shit. Although, I gotta say, this tuneless piece of noise contains 100% of my interest when it comes to this level, and judging by the comment section, I assume the same applies to you. Matter of fact, I don't even need to assume. I know that for certain because there are currently 0 records on the demons list. Since it got verified, not a single person cared about enough to grind it for a little while just to reach over halfway there. You dickheads got a 3-week head start and you still fucked it. Firework has had even less time in existence than Slaughterhouse and it's already got 4 records. That's 250 points on the leaderboard showing they're unclaimed. That means even the thirsty ass demon grinders couldn't bring themselves to be subjected to this shit. Why couldn't they? I can think of a couple reasons. Having a quick peek at the credits here, this gameplay was made for the most part entirely shed out with speed by Ice Cave of Texture Pack fame. If you feast your eyes on his past uploads, you may have noticed that they're all impossible levels. And if you know anything about impossible levels, is that they're not designed for humans. Half of the time they're just pissing contests on how good everyone's hack client is. Raise your hand if you ever dedicated weeks of your life towards trying to beat Silent Clubstar. Slaughterhouse for the most part is just more of that. Post-birth abortions that no one would want to come in contact with, but this time it's just a little easier. Back in ancient Greece where this thing was conceived originally, it was just another impossible level. But later on, it got changed to be slightly less migraine inducing, but in the end of the day, the root is still made up of this. Remember that meme from 4 years ago about how hell levels were everywhere? Bet you do. And if you're paying attention, they're still here. They never left. Just because the meme died doesn't mean that this isn't over. Matter of fact, it's only worse now. Instead of being red all over, the new hot trend is cramming hundreds of thousands of objects in the tiniest space possible so no one can play without their house burning down. The top 2 right now only have star rates, which is basically just a pity rate. Usually it's feature or bust with Rob. That means Rob Top saw this level and decided that it wasn't anything noteworthy and they put it in the same category as Buckle Your Pants. According to Rob Top, this level wasn't as good as Mission Lashawna, which to be honest, yeah, sounds about right. This looks fine sure, but only because the people who are making it are good creators. Any good creator can get a pile of used tissues and put enough sparkly shit on there and get it featured. If me having 5 of them wasn't enough evidence, just look at soulless CP grinders like Extra Crispy Croc that pump out trash so often to the point that even Rob Top, you know, the guy who dedicates his entire work life to the Geometry Dash community, even he got sick of them. To be honest, I wouldn't really put Slaughterhouse above any of these levels because if I wanted to waste my time, I would instead go play something that's rotting in a bin with -2 likes. I have no evidence to confirm this, but I estimate that the average best percentage done by players on this is around 3%, and that's being generous. I don't know if this is a hot take or not, but I don't think people actually like Slaughterhouse. They like the hype. They like the thrill of waiting for the new shiny thing to arrive so they can get 5% and put it in their Discord name. And then sitting down and watching Vortrox not know what a script is for 5 minutes. Not that I don't get it, I may be a war veteran boomer, but I'm not immune to this either. I remember watching the Deadly Clipset race back in the day and it was pretty cool to see 2 top players going at it. I gotta admit. But now a new race starts every 30 minutes and it's like I can't keep track of them all. Every Geometry Dash player gets sick of the Extreme Demon hype eventually. And for me, that time was around 2016 when people were pumping out Extreme Demons at such a rapid pace, I quit playing them all together and instead focusing on looking for levels myself through the going to page 600 method. People may be creaming their pants over this level now, now, but are people going to care in 2023 when someone else comes along to jingle their keys in front of new players to farm millions of views off of them? Dunno, probably not. I haven't actually heard anyone talking about its quality, but when I commented my first impressions, people, to put it kindly, didn't like it that much. But that's most likely only because it's fresh out of the womb. The same thing happened when I gave my detailed one-word review of Sedulous. I recall being the only person I knew that hated it, but recently, a year later, I gave the same exact opinion, and more than a couple people agreed with me. Can't wait to follow this video up in November 2022 when people finally realize that this level is not even remotely fun to play. It looks just like every other shitty Impossible level, and is a more enjoyable experience when consumed via a silent PowerPoint presentation that only existed to absorb views and to clog up the demon's list like a fun sponge. Well, time to chuck it on the pile. Turi is a great level for anyone who loves watching spiders narrowly avoiding spikes by the length of a couple centimeters. I left this off my last video because it's not a travel level, it's not rated, and it doesn't even crack 3 minutes. But I'm covering it anyway because after listening to Crim 3S for many minutes, I am absolutely unhinged. And before you ask, no, I am not in low detail mode, this is the full detail version of this level. And considering that he built this in one day, I wouldn't expect anything more. Was it a shitty idea to try to make a travel level in one day? Yes, but for a day's work, this does the job. The gameplay is perfectly passable, and even though the design is really basic, I can sorta almost maybe tell what Enilab was going for. Kinda. This level just feels naked, like it just phased into existence. If you don't care about decoration or theme, I can easily see this being your happy level, but the lack of everything is sort of a turn off for me. But when it comes to comparing it to a finished product, I'm not exactly bricked up over the thing, so it's safe to put it squarely in the meh tier. So it seems like a level from 2019 by a guy with no creator points made in a day beats Slaughterhouse. Well, hell yeah, can't wait to have a negative 69 sub day.